Hey guys, ever since I reviewed the Eagle Drivetrain and the E13 946 cassette, I kept getting this question: should I upgrade to 11 or 12-speed drivetrain? So here's my 9-step attempt to answer that question. Number one has to be the range. Eagle technology introduced by SRAM gives you the 500% in a nicely spaced out cassette from the 10 tooth over here all the way up to 50, and you're going to need an XD driver for this. E13 introduced recently their more affordable 946 tooth. This is an 11-speed cassette that gives you slightly more than that 500% range, 511% to be more exact. Looking at a gear calculator reveals that 500% actually means the same range as a 2x10 speed drivetrain with 2438 dual chainring and a 1036 cassette. And with a slightly wider 511% range, the E13 11-speed is the winner here. Number two has to be compatibility. All Eagle components are compatible with each other, and you see my mix and match drivetrain here. XO1 shifter, then I have an XO1 chain, then I have a GX cassette and a GX rear derailleur. So between XO1, GX, XX1, you can mix and match them all and they will be just fine. You don't need new chainring for Eagle, even though they recommend it. Same with cranks. And the only other option in the marketplace today is a 12-speed cassette from Sunrace, which is 1150. That would work on a Shimano free hub. This one requires an XD free hub. Now, if you decide to stay with 11-speed for the 500% range, you have a lot more options. You see my bike here using an XTR, so Shimano shifter. Then I have race face cranks, and I have, that's a KMC chain, and then you have, this is the E13 cassette, and you have an XT, a Shimano XT M8000 rear derailleur. The reality is you can use any 11-speed chain, you can use any rear derailleur here, whether it is GS like this one is, or a medium cage, or SGS. And not only that, if you have an 11-speed SRAM drivetrain, you can actually keep that one and still make it work on your 946 cassette. So quite a few more options if you decide to stick with the 11-speed. So that's another win for the E13. Number three has to do with cost. Whereas for the 11-speed, all you might need is a cassette. I know it's not a cheap cassette, it's quite expensive actually, but you can probably have it for about $200 or even less. On the GX drivetrain, you have to fork up enough money for cassette, for chain, rear derailleur, and shifter. If you add them all up for a GX, that comes up to about $375. There's more cost with the 12-speed as opposed to this, no matter how you look at it. Number four is brand loyalty and the ability to actually purchase the whole drivetrain from one company. Eagle was designed as a whole system, optimized for the range, the low wear, and maximum performance. It also includes a complete drivetrain. The 500% with 11-speed is made up of mix and match components. You can still use a Shimano drivetrain if you like their shifting, or you can reuse an old SRAM 11-speed that would work just fine. Just use the extended range cassette, E13, or any of the other ones available in the marketplace. There are advantages to both approaches, but because SRAM provides the whole system, I would give this to the Eagle 12-speed. And that brings me to performance, number five. After riding both drivetrains for the last part of the year, I can tell you that I got used to both of them. So Shimano, as expected, is very smooth, no surprises there. Bit of a surprise, if I can call that, was the smoothness of the shifting with this 946 tooth cassette. If you look at my review of the cassette itself or the riding, you will see it's just as smooth as Shimano, absolutely no difference. Once you get past the shifter differences, the Eagle cassette or shifting on the Eagle cassette is actually very nice and smooth, both up and down the cassette. Issues with these drivetrains on this 11-speed with the KMC chain that I'm running right now, I am dropping the chain on the 42. I did do a video talking about what I believe to be better chains for the 1x systems. Just use the link on the screen to get more details on that. On the Eagle drivetrain, if you've watched my review, you know that there is an issue here shifting onto the two largest cogs that are narrow-wide profile. But with all that being said, I would call this a toss between the Eagle and the 11-speed drivetrain. And that takes me to number 6, durability and weight. What you're looking at here is a GX cassette, but all the Eagle cassettes are built very similarly. This one is 450 grams and it is made out of steel with the 50 tooth made out of aluminum. Durability remains to be seen, but if you are to believe other reports online, the durability of this drivetrain is not bad at all. E13 is made out of steel all the way up to here, and the last three, the biggest cogs, are made out of aluminum. Now the weight comes to 342 grams, which is really good, something that even the most expensive Eagle cassettes cannot touch. However, if you read online, you're gonna find people complaining about the old versions of these cassettes, talking about premature wear of the top three or one of the three aluminum cogs. This is heavily dependent on your riding style and maintenance, but I would still give the durability to Eagle 12-speed. Number 7 is appearance, and the Eagle cassette is huge. It's the biggest cassette I've ever had, but it doesn't necessarily look that out of place on a 29er. A 946 out back or 46 tooth maximum cog doesn't look too different than something like a 101142 that we've been using for a few years. So the looks go to E13 11-speed. Second last criteria is clearances around the derailleur and the chainring. For chainring, many of the new frames will limit the max you can install usually to 34 teeth. If that's the case, the E13 can provide the ability to pedal at higher speed because of the 9-tooth cog. Also, we have chainring clearance to the ground and obstacles. This might not be as critical. For instance, a 34-tooth chainring is just 5 mm closer to the ground than a 30-tooth chainring. Braking a derailleur is never fun, so I will measure how close to the ground they get, measured from the wheel axle, trying to eliminate the wheel size discussion. Then I will measure how far out they protrude to the side, this measured from the face of the derailleur hanger. And in case of this XT-GS, and that will be true for any GS type of derailleur from Shimano, 22 centimeters. With the chain shifted on the biggest cog, it only comes out about 2 centimeters. Maximal extension is here with the chain on the 9-tooth cog or 11-speed, and that comes out to 3 centimeters. On the Eagle, 23.5 centimeters, so you have an extra 1.5 centimeters here at the bottom of the cage. The profile of this is about 3.5 centimeters. With the chain on the 12-speed, this comes out a bit more, about 5 centimeters, so about 2 inches. So Eagle is 1.5 centimeters wider and the cage is longer than a Shimano GS or medium cage. Mind you, if you are using a Shimano long cage or SGS, it will come within 5 millimeters length of the Eagle 12-speed. But with overall clearances being better on the 946, this one goes to E13 11-speed. And as you're scratching your head thinking, why 12-speed when I can get the 500% in 11-speed, let me bring you to my last point, number 9, gear ratios. I mentioned earlier how a 500% gear range pretty much covers a 2-by system that we used to use. It gets pretty interesting to look at the two side by side, the Eagle with a 32 chainring and the 11-speed 946 with a 32 chainring. And that is because even though they both cover the same gear range, the gaps between gears here is finer on the 12-speed as opposed to the 11-speed. In riding the two, I can't say that I noticed the finer gaps between gears on the Eagle. However, depending on your riding style, this might be important. So I'll give the win on this one to Eagle 12-speed. So there you have it, guys. We've talked about gear range, compatibility, cost, brand loyalty. We talked about performance, durability, appearance, and clearances around the drivetrain. And finally, we looked at the gear range and the gaps between them. With this video, I hope I answered at least a few of your questions. If you have more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me in the comments below. If you want to check prices for any one of these parts, use the links in the description. As usual, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, keep an eye on social media, and until next time, I'll see you on the trails, guys. Cheers.